Sometimes a video game gets cancelled. I can accept that in life. Maybe a Mario Kart game was being developed on the GameCube at one point, and then got cancelled and moved forward onto the Wii. Right? It happens. But today, I want to talk about those Nintendo games that got cancelled, and the first thing that comes into your head is, wait, that was actually a thing that was going to happen? Some weird cancelled Nintendo games. So sit tight and get some Fruit Loop straws and enjoy the video. But wait, you can't get those Fruit Loop straws anymore because they were cancelled just like the games in this video. Oh, I'm so sad right now. I think we can all agree that one of the best memories we have on the Wii was the Me channel. Spending hours creating ourselves, friends, family, and characters to have in our plaza. The customization was so simple yet incredibly addicting. But did you know that the Mii's was a concept all the way back in 1997 on the NES? Yeah, with a full-on prototype and everything. Apart from this video, there's really not anything else regarding the Mii's on NES. Considering the NES didn't have the technology to just have your Mii be a part of the console, if I had to guess, this Mii game would just be a little experience where you would create characters, probably helpful if you're a kid wanting to get into art and character design, I don't know. But apart from that, it was just a neat little concept for sure, and it's crazy to think that these little guys have been in development since the NES days. But yeah, definitely better off having the Mii's make their debut on the Wii. Now you know me, I've dedicated so much of my life to bootleg video games, and probably the granddaddy of them all is Action 52. If you don't already know, Action 52 was a bootleg game released on the NES, containing 52 of the worst games ever to be seen on the console, and that's really saying something. They were just lazy shooters, lazy side-scrollers, etc. But the one game that this company was really banking on to be a success was Cheetahmen. And, shocker, it wasn't. I'm going to show you literally 5 seconds of gameplay, and it'll demonstrate better than I could ever even attempt to express into words. Wow. What a game. Cheetahmen was choppy, inconsistent, had a terrible soundtrack, even worse visuals somehow, and is the peak definition of a garbage bootleg video game. It even managed to have its own version on the Sega Genesis, granted being on the same Action 52 cartridge. This series was destined to be a failure because no love was ever shown to be put into it. Which is why when they tried to make a Cheetahmen 2, it never got released. Wow, who could have seen that coming? The prototype was leaked online, and gosh dang it, it looks exactly like the first Cheetahmen in every way. Like, did they seriously think anyone would want this? Apparently so, because they even had Cheetahmen commercials.
Hey man, I'll help you out.
No worries, no.
Come on guys, we have work to do.
This commercial cost money. They had to pay someone, probably, to animate that. And for what? A crappy game that no one would ever play? It blows my mind that they thought Cheetahmen would be the next big thing. Whomever they are. Grand Theft Auto and Nintendo go together as well as pouring mustard in your chocolate milk. There has never, ever been a GTA game on a Nintendo console. Apart from that one time. But in 1996, during the time of the N64, Nintendo was thinking about getting a little edgier with GTA 64. From the looks of it, the game was just going to be an updated port of the original GTA. Nintendo, however, most likely got cold feet on the game and canceled it before even showing anything off to the public. Is it a loss? No way, man, the first 2 GTA games suck! Regardless, the fact that Nintendo would ever consider having a game series that involves beating a lady of the night and taking your money back from her is quite the miracle. Yoshi's Island is easily one of the most charming games I've ever played, but it might not even exist today if it weren't for a little game called Super Donkey. Now, what is that? Some kind of Gordon Ramsay spin-off game?
You donkey!
As fun as that would be, no. But the story is still interesting nonetheless. The Super Donkey prototype was leaked in 2020, during the 2018-2020 Microsoft and Nintendo breaches. The game is a Donkey Kong spin-off of sorts, where you presumably control Stanley from Donkey Kong 3. Yeah, that guy. Visually speaking, the game obviously was the catalyst for that cute coloring book aesthetic Yoshi's Island would perfect. And from a gameplay perspective, this game is insane. Seriously, we're flying all over the map, doing monkey bars, and shooting a gun? It's honestly really ambitious. Stanley's design, as well as a lot of the gameplay now that I think about it, is very reminiscent of Rayman. As cool as this game would have been though, it's definitely way safer to rebrand this as a Mario game. I don't think the Stanley fanbase was too hot in the 90s. Another little fun piece of trivia is that this prototype was called Super Donkey, and in Japan, Super Donkey Kong is the name of the Donkey Kong Country series in Japan. This game, however, is a case where, man, it definitely would have been cool to see what Super Donkey could have been.
It's free real estate.
Danny Phantom Urban Jungle. A really crappy to mediocre at best DS game, but was originally supposed to have a full release on the Wii as well. Would it have been any good? Probably not, if Nickelodeon Wii games are anything to go by. I just believe in Danny Phantom's supremacy. I think an open-world Danny Phantom game would be awesome at some point, using his ghost powers to fight crime and sneak into Sam's room or something. I don't know, let's move on.
Good shot!
That's so wonderful.
You know, for a fat Italian, Mario sure does play a lot of sports. Some of the best Mario games in some people's eyes are the sports spin-offs. Mario Golf, tennis, baseball, soccer, but something is missing in that lineup of sports. Do you know what I'm talking about? Probably the most popular sport in North America. Yeah, that's right, Mario Professional Wrestling! Just kidding, although that would actually be awesome. No, sadly, I'm talking about football, or as the British call it, Rigby or something, I don't know, I don't speak not freedom. American football is really boring, to be honest. But to be fair, Nintendo has turned all these other boring sports into fun games, so why did we never see a football game? Retro Studios was the company in charge of this football game. You might know Retro as that company that gave us titles like Metroid Prime and the Donkey Kong Country Returns series. A company that has a pretty good track record, and back in the GameCube days was in charge of developing a Mario football game. So, what went wrong? Nintendo wasn't exactly happy with the production of the game, wanting it to be more realistic and gritty like the Madden series. So, you know, all of the fun parts of the Mario sports games like items, special abilities, fast-paced gameplay, all gone. I can't say I'm too surprised. The mid-2000s was when Nintendo was trying to be more edgy and mature. All I can think of now are those GTA mods with the Nintendo characters. This is what Nintendo wanted! Gritty and realistic gameplay with the bright and colorful Mario characters. Good choice. Retro just eventually decided to scrap the project entirely since, you know, what's the point of making it a Mario sports game? Opting instead to work on a game called NFL Retro Football, which was also cancelled. But hey, the story has a happy ending. With both of these football games in the trash, Retro then worked on a little game called, Metroid Prime. You may have heard of it. So, in a way, Mario American Football died, so that Metroid Prime can live. And you know what? That's a sacrifice I think we're all okay with. Project Dream. This has been talked about to death, so I'll just make this one quick. Project Dream was a really stylized Super Nintendo game made by Rareware. It looked amazing, having comparisons to Donkey Kong Country, another Rareware title. Eventually though, the game was scrapped and development moved to the upcoming N64, where now it didn't look as cool. Rare eventually overhauled the entire game, turning it into Banjo and Kazooie. And while that game is obviously fantastic, Project Dream sometimes still keeps me up at night. The main character has such a unique style that I would love to see today. And he's got a dog friend, which again, that duo dynamic would be kept in the form of the bear and bird. So for now, Project Dream is just that, a dream. The Nintendo 64 was heaven if you were a Zelda fan. Two amazing games that were sort of sequel, sort of spin-offs to each other. The messed up timeline makes it difficult to be exact. And, apparently at one point to make this trilogy of Zelda 64 games complete, there was going to be The Legend of Zelda Chic. Apparently, this game would have been an action JRPG hybrid which would have explored the journey of the last Chic, while the Dark Gerudo are giving their 100-year birth to Ganon. Apparently, the game would have been set during the bad ending of Ocarina of Time, which is always fantastic. like rubbing salt in the wound. The game never made it far into development though, sadly only having a few pieces of concept art be released, which damn, this looks pretty badass. It also could have been like an actual good RPG on the N64, because the console was definitely lacking in that area. We may never see The Legend of Zelda Chic, but it'll forever live on in our hearts, despite just learning about it 5 minutes ago. The Virtual Boy is bad. Yes, thank you, I know. I'm saying something no one has ever said before. The Virtual Boy had a very small library of games. I believe only 22 were released. But there were actually more planned, including Diddy's Conquest and GoldenEye. Both of these fantastic games, coincidentally both made by Rare, were originally supposed to make their debut on the Virtual Boy. Can you imagine that? There aren't any screenshots or anything, thank God, but that's fine. I can just make the footage myself. There you go. This is your Diddy's Conquest on Virtual Boy. And don't get me started on GoldenEye. This hunk of junk can barely run side-scrollers, let alone first-person shooters. Let's just be thankful that the Virtual Boy was as big of a flop as it was. Because if this thing saw any amount of success, who knows how many more classics could have been butchered. So, this last game isn't the craziest cancelled project by any means, but I just really wanted to end this video on a fun note. Super Mario Fushigi no Koro Koro Party. You maybe want to run that by me again? Which translates to Super Mario Rolling Party of Mystery. This is an arcade remake of Mario Party 5. That's right, you could actually play Mario Party 5 in arcades. I'm not too sure how it works, considering this footage is all in Japanese, but from what I can tell, all of the mini-games involve the players using these balls, hence the rolling aspect in the title, and basically needing to get them into specific spots before the other players do. All of the instructions and progression are done on screen to mimic the feeling of playing Mario Party, while the games themselves look like your typical arcade and carnival games you might play. The game never made it outside of Japan, so the game was technically released and not cancelled, but it just stinks that these things never really caught fire. Here's an image of what the machine itself looked like. You can tell it's a pretty beefy boy and probably would have been insane to maintain and manufacture. So even if I never got to play Super Mario Fushigi no Koro Koro Party, I'm still glad it existed somewhere. And those were just some of the weird cancelled Nintendo projects. Let me know what you think, and if you could revive only one of these games, what would you choose? Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Florgus Day. A cancel day I just made up.